Pasha Paro, Wide at 7. Thank you for tuning. So, let's get into it. Today, I was just sitting here. I'm gonna share my thoughts with you for entertainment purposes, and I was like, "Yo, the word dilution just kept coming to my dilution, right?" So I said, "Let me look it up." I'm sharing it live real quick. Hold on. So I said, let me look it up. And this is what we got, all right? Originally dilute, 1555. Borrowed from Latin, past participle, which meant dissolve, wash away, dilute, right? And then it says see deluge. And I was like, oh shit, deluge. And when you go and look at in the etymology dictionary that I got, when you look up deluge, it actually says the great flood, the great biblical flood, right? That's the deluge. So then there's the remainder of it that says dilution in the noun form, 1646, had a special sense of refutation, if I'm saying that right, and was probably not the source of the English word, which had the literal sense of act of making thinner or watering down when it actually appeared. So Pasha, what do you get? What's interesting about that? It gave me the sight that to ask this question: are we currently living in the deluge or the great flood? Or is it something historical? Not to say that there wasn't great floods, physically, waters on earth. But what if there's another type of deluge? Again, dissolve, wash away, dilute. And now, with everyone socially distant, right? Whether that is complete or not, you got to look at it like washing, like brainwashing, like dissolving knowledge of who you actually are, like your true knowledge of self. What up, Chris? True knowledge of self. You can't know who they are, because if you know who they are, well, then you'll know who you are, right? Knowledge of self is being erased, diluted, dissolved. True history. You know what I mean? You can't know they had wireless electricity in Egypt because they sold you on being the plug. You see what I'm saying? The past itself is being diluted. People actually think Egypt is in Africa. What if it wasn't? What if it was actually somewhere else? Scars. Scars are being diluted. You're being told, constantly bombarded, that you shouldn't feel a certain way, like whatever it is, or this is how you should feel. The revenue of the U.S. cosmetic industry has an estimated amount to be about $49 billion in the United States in 2022. Because without it, that's how many people feel scarred without it, just being who they are. Ultra generated approximately $7.4 billion one year in retail sales. Secrets are being diluted. Everybody now knows about the Illuminati. They may not know who they are for entertainment purposes. People may not even care. But it's now a common running joke. Illuminati. Everybody knows there's been no money in circulation since the 30s. Everybody's seen the TV show or the online show, How It's Made, where you get to watch how they made that. Manufacturing and trade secrets are being shared. Relationships are being diluted. Socially distanced. All this is socially distancing, right? Relationships being conditioned to become the population someone or something wants you to be. Guidelines, acts, statutes, codes. You want any title except for self. Self-love is being diluted. Resources. You saw with the supply chain issues. What kind of vulnerabilities are exploited when you have to have supplies coming from across the world? What happens if people learn to live with what they have locally? What would that world look like? Yeah, Chris. Any title. Cause the knowledge itself is being diluted. It's no longer valued to be self. You must be one of the macro organism, right? But this is all tied together because we're at a time period where, the vibrations is supposed to be elevating, right? Humanity is supposed to be going into a higher frequency. So what happens when things get a higher frequency? Well, there's more energy involved. So things become more excited on the quantum physics level, right? So if you look at a molecule, right? Is that going to be a good example? Yeah, let's do that. If you could just picture the structure of a molecule, well, if you pump more energy into that, it's going to want to expand at some point. The question is, how much can it expand before the bonds are broken and you have with the right elements or right molecules and the right critical mass, you have a chain reaction of change in form. And once the form changes, then its function is usually inherently different. So I want you to think about this, because the word dilution, the great flood, cultures are being diluted. No matter if it's your nationality, subcultural like religion, regional, gender, ethnic, generational, economics, corporate, workplace. It's a great blurring of the lines going on. You draw a line on a paper, take an eraser, or when you were younger, or maybe you got young ones now that then drew on the wall. You gotta go on the wall with the rag and wipe it off. Or the eraser on the paper. When you first start making motions, the line first becomes blurred, right? It starts to smear a little bit. You don't just go through normally and just a ladder and wipe that shit off and it's just gone one swipe. I mean, that's a good day if it is, but normally you gotta put some elbow grease in there, so it blurs the line a little bit before it erases it completely. Just learning from watching nature, observation. So, what would be the value of telling the Great Flood is now? Because if it's not just about the rain and tsunamis, then it's a slow brainwashing of an entire population of people. It's an invasion of your very existence. This is why, remember in the story, they had to take 2 of every animal. See, because in etymology, animal was everything having the breath of life. And if you're going to brainwash a population, you're going to need a male and a female. You're going to need a couple. You're going to need 2 of every animal. Because whoever's setting these rules is also saying this is where these animals can live. This is where you can hunt them. This is where we're going to move in and move all of them out. There's a great blurring of the lines. Everything is being eroded. The planet is being mined. Your energy is a resource that is being mined. Your mind is being mined. Put it in the comments below. Let me know what you think. Is the Great Flood really a great gaslighting campaign? Because refutation is the act of proving a statement or theory to be wrong or false. Would there be then any question why people have more confidence, more belief in the systems than they do in their self? Pasha Paro, YNS7, thank you for tuning.